to accommodate the wetness down there, and maybe something to level the field up some, 'cause she leans
No.
over. Is that in the budget? It's not. But it's, I think, a simple fix, but I don't think you can just turn kids loose because it's wet. If you ever watch when
Biggest
it rains,
expense will be is you're gonna have to have a retaining wall that borders the sidewalk,
maybe
is what it would be.
all a work in progress, but we've received about $440,000 of grant money.
It's great.
To work around that ball field. In exchange, we have to do in-kind, installing the lights. We have to do a significant amount of paving on Harris Street. And remember, when we do this, we're gonna have to pave that section of Harris Street that's out of the project area. Otherwise, we're gonna have a nice looking street and
Yeah, sure.
so our actual costs are gonna be a little bit more than what we put in because we're gonna go ahead and do all of Harris Street.
I've also spoken to one of the school board members about the blight. You know, those school buildings over there is blight, and I was explaining it to him. So, and I'm gonna talk to him again. I see him at basketball practice, at basketball games. And I explained to him, that we're trying to get rid of blight. And those school buildings, not only is it blight, it's also a hazard.
Sure.
Huge.
Huge hazard.
There's hatches and
Right.
everything, yeah.
Right.
But we voted last
I'm gonna
month
work on that.
that you will be contacting,
Enforcing, I think Jennifer's got an appointment set up
I've
with
got a
Dean.
meeting in the morning with Dean to meet on the. buildings on
enforcing the
Church
building
Street.
code over there.
Right.
Yep. Very good.
As
Very
a
good,
group.
Madam Clerk. Good luck with that meeting. Moving right along to the utility upgrade project. Once again, I think we have, this was multiple bids, and we've got a low bid of, 90 something, I think.
$975,930.
900.
And I'm sure glad that one came in because look at the other two. 1.6 million.
What generally is being done? What will this do to the plant?
It's specific to the wastewater plant. We're gonna replace the bar screens. We're gonna recondition the clarifiers and the trickling filter.
You've been talking about that for
and
years,
to
that's right.
The distribution box, it takes the flow and sends it evenly to each of the distribution filters in the nitrogen.
A lot of things that need to
That's
be
probably
done
the bulk of it.
before is what this is.
We're also working at the pump station to create a series of hoists in Rocky Bump and Forest Drive. Right now, if you ever go into those pump stations, and maybe tomorrow we'll go take a peek at one of them, our motors are above ground, but the actual pumps are below ground, and there's a long shaft that runs between the two, probably 8-12 feet deep. And the bottom, you can't get those pumps out without physically hoisting them up a circular stair. So a series of hoists are gonna be included on some new pump station. We're cutting a hole, we're creating a hoist system in the ceiling so you can take a chain hoist and pull them out.
It just seems like
And
a
then there's
huge
work at
difference.
Courthouse Road Pump Station, if you look at the building, pretty bad, so we're gonna put it in.
Do you need council to approve to accept this low bid?
And authorize me to execute the documents.
Is there a motion to that effect? Accept the low bid? Ms. Thompson's moved. Mr. Green is seconded.
They are licensed and insured, correct? Because the license number is not included on the bid.
I've never worked with Lisbon, but B&B has, so yes, they will.
Let's make
provide
sure.
a
Great point,
certificate
Mr.
of
Nash.
insurance.
Eagle eyes
May
over
be a
there.
reason why it's 700,000 people.
That's right. Beware. Beware. I'll ask for a roll call vote, starting with President Thompson.
Aye.
Oh, sorry. Let me stop there. Mr. Colonel Tom.
The county's grant, tobacco grant will not pay any.
Doesn't do any of this portion. This is wastewater treatment plant upgrades, but doesn't include the recirculation. While this contractor's here, timing-wise, it may make good sense. If the county acquires that money, maybe we can go ahead and do it at the same time.
Save money. He's
It
already
is
here.
not the same, and I was remiss, there is work at the water treatment plant, replacing a series of actuators at the plant. Right now, we have to manually open and close valves, and they're leaking. And the actuator is an electronic device that'll automatically close it. Was not warranted, when I got here in 2011, they weren't working. From the plant work that had been done in 2007, and Siemens Control is on record. A gentleman named John Clocker said, lose it. We're not warranting something over a year old. And so they've been following along with it. This will replace not the valve, but the control, the actuator. Siemens product did not come through. The salespeople really failed us back in 2011.
Did you mention that there's 2.2 million in the bank to do this?
Yes.
I don't know if some knew that. We've
Rate
already,
increases to.
no, we've already taken care of this
The
financing.
money was borrowed in 2016, believe it or not, from a bank in Mississippi.
That's right.
Hancock Whitney
That's
Bank.
right. That's right.
The money's been borrowed, the proceeds are sitting on deposit at Benchmark Bank, and then we make draws off of that. This is $975,000. Remember, I just told you, in a week or two, we're gonna be bidding out the line work that would run approximately from the bowling alley to the main gate, and then we would abandon 2 of our water tanks. One is a concrete tank on College Avenue, and the other one is tank number 1, which is at the main gate or approximately at the main gate, crossing Mates.
Right,
And those will both be taken offline.
that's great.
That portion and east end will be bid out together in about 2 weeks.
All right.
Barring-
We will proceed with the roll call vote to start with Ms. Thompson.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. Moving right along, we have East End Neighborhood Project. No news from the governor's office yet, or from DHCD? Should be any week now.
We hope so. We're waiting.
Yes, indeed.
When's the latest they typically,
It's usually July 20-something.
I've gotten
So, I mean,
late
we're-
September.
Have you?
so we've got time.
Oh, yeah, we're not
Out of the ball field yet.
out.
Does Ms. Wilson want to do rental property? Or the floor is yours. What do you wish?
Yes, for the rental property, we
Yes.
really don't have anything to report right now. Dean and I will be meeting, by the end of this week, and hopefully to start by the end of this month. We have, Realty Access who's helping us to create a list because we needed to have a list of the landlords. So we're working on our list, but by August, we should have something to report.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, very good. And then the next item, weatherization.
Yes, so you all have a copy of the program design that asking to be adopted. We're gonna present this annually. The only change that was made, this is the same program design that was created initially, and the only change that was made was the update of the income for the household.
Okay.
That's on page 12.
So obviously, looking at the schedule of events, being that some of these dates have passed already, I mean, this is already in, have we already received proposals from?
The RFP, yes, had gone in, and we received our proposals Friday.
Okay.
And the only one we received one for each for the, which came from Southside Outreach Group for the grants management, and for the home inspectors came from Howerton Inspection. So those are the only ones.
Would you, any motion you'd like tonight from the council, Ms. Wilson?
Yes, we'd like to.
This is to approve the policy, the weatherization assistance program policy?
Program income
Program.
design.
Okay, members of council, what's your pleasure? You see that, did the income limits go up a little bit?
Yes.
Just a little bit?
Yes.
Okay, members of council, what's your pleasure? This is routine, boilerplate, as Mr. Green would say.
Thank you.
A second.
Mr. Nash has moved, Mr. Miller has seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Yvonne, for everything you do and the way you do it. And you're still on a roll here, comprehensive plan.
Yes.
We're gonna have a big meeting, folks. This cannot be understated. Ms. Wilson, tell them about the meeting.
Big meeting, everybody.
Big meeting,
Blackstone Community Forum. It's taking place on Tuesday, July the 31st. We are encouraging the community to come out. We need to hear what the needs are of the community. This is all in part of preparing the comprehensive plan. And we are the information that we receive from this and from the surveys will be the next step. We're gonna get, hopefully the churches involved to help us to get surveys out. And this information is gonna be pulled together, after we've done both. And this is gonna help determine what the community is saying that we need to prepare for in the next 5 years.
Could be broadband, community center, whatever, you name it. This is open mic night at the fire station.
Yes.
Are we the sponsor for the second event as well? Burkeville Volunteer Fire Department?
No, we're not.
Okay, so
No, this is just letting people know, on the flyers, it shows that Burkeville Volunteer Fire Department will also be holding, one for the Crew Burkeville area.
Okay.
And pretty much both dates are for anybody though. If you can't make one, come to the other, and we'll be determining on the documentation which ones are for, each location,
Excellent.
okay?
And Ms. Wilson can also update you on number 10. We've got a good planning committee on the Veterans Day 2018 in C Park. It's going to be the 100th anniversary of Veterans Day. And I got tired of seeing veterans have to do all the Veterans Day ceremonies, so the town's going to do this one. And
The town has an awesome committee. We're working on the Veterans Day event. In the packets, we had the banners that are being purchased.
You also have an All-American Post this year too.
But that needs to be recognized as well, Greg. I just heard about that. And I've made contact with the governor's office. They've received the invitation from me, to the governor to come, and I have not gotten a no yet.
What's that fund?
That's encouraging.
What's that fund you want taken out of the community?
So,
Centennial.
so that event will begin at 11 o'clock a.m.
And that's a big deal because it's a Sunday this year. And so
Yes.
one of my tasks is, we talked the other day, I'm going to try to get the churches on board because 11 o'clock is church for a lot of churches. But we could let Veterans Day be church that day. It's a special day. It's a 100th anniversary. We're a military town. I don't think it's going to be a tough sell.
Philip, are these banners good enough to be reused?
Yes.
These
July
are
Nice
4th.
banners.
Yes.
I mean, they're not just something,
Different Mosque designed, the same people that produce those American flags we've had out there for 6-7 years.
so we can use them year after year.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
you can leave them up all year, you can take them down. however you
Gotcha.
Mayor,
Yes.
I move that we approve the purchase of these 30 flags using Centennial Fund money that we have available.
Second. What does that take that fund down to?
Got about $8,600.
And this is going to total about what, Yvonne? 3,900?
Yes.
So, about half a million.
All right. All in favor of Mr. Green's motion to buy the banner, say aye. Aye. Opposed? And that money will come from the often neglected and forgotten Renaissance Fund.
Everybody satisfied with the banners, the way they look and the colors?
Yes.
So substantial, I don't wanna throw $4,000 into something that won't last, so I just wanna make sure they're.
They, like I said,
Good
Moscow
quality.
Design does weatherproof banners. Now, they'll mold after a certain time.
But we're going to take them down
We'll take 'em
regularly.
down.
That's a good thing.
And that cost included the banners and the brackets.
Yes. Thank you, Vaughn.
You're welcome.
Good meeting the other day. Going ahead, move down the home stretch, folks. New business surplus items. You've got 2 items that the manager would like you to advertise on govdeals.com. Standard procedure we do every year. Surplus them, declare them surplus.
Declare them surplus.
I move to surplus the 2 items.
Second.
All right. Mr. Nash has moved and Mr. Miller has seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Did we do this with the fire chief, the vote? Those we approved, number 2 we approved. And then move right along. We have some bad news for Mr. Nathaniel Miller. He cannot be on the Board of Zoning Appeals and Town Council.
Or that's good news.
That's good news. That's good news.
So, but it's an at-large appointment, so it's, even though he's a Ward A rep, anyone from council can present a name at the next meeting if you know someone that'd like to be on the 5-member Board of Zoning Appeals.
Remember, this is a recommendation that the council would make to the circuit court judge who makes the ultimate appointment.
Yeah.
Can you state who's currently,
Or if anybody wants to do it tonight, because in July it runs,
who is our
it's
current
supposed to be
board?
renewing this month. We have Sally Beal,
He's hiding.
Michael
behind-
Sally Beal's on there, I know, and Mr. Lewis Johnson,
Michael Holmes,
Michael Bagley.
Coco Mancinello.
Michael
Yes.
Bagley.
Myra Quick,
Michael
Michael
Bagley.
Bagley, Ifateo Mancinello, Sally Beal, Myra Quick, and it was Mr. Miller.
What's Lewis on? Lewis
He's not,
Johnson?
he resigned.
That's right, I'm sorry, okay, I got you. So we need to fill a vacancy for Mr. Miller.
Does anyone have a recommendation tonight? Because July is when when the term is running out, so that's why I was asking. If
I
anybody- Think of anybody.
don't have anybody that I'm mad at right now that no. How about, we'll think about it, folks, and any names you have, let the clerk know about it, and we'll act on it as soon as possible.
Council does not vote on these, it is, sent to Nottaway.
But we have to nominate them,
Right, you have
Right.
to give the name, but.
Right. Moving right along, Mr. Miller, thank you for your service. This is much more glamorous up here. Committee assignments you've taken care of. Thank you very much. I throw these out here just because I want to make sure y'all are the council, y'all make the rules. I want to make sure that this council is fine with the following: the seating arrangement, the rotating the voting order monthly. For example, tonight, July is Barbara Thompson's, she goes first. Next month, it'll be Nathaniel Miller. Are y'all good with that? Starting the meetings with the invocation and the pledge and meeting on the 3rd Monday here at 7. All that is things you decide.
Need a motion?
I entertain a motion.
Move to approve of all, especially the invocation and pledge.
All right. Is there a second to Mr. Nash's motion? Second. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'm happy to say 12 years ago, I came up with the idea for the
Mr.
Pledge of
Green
Allegiance.
did the pledge. He did. He did. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And this next request, Mr. Nash wants to talk about golf carts for the electrical department. Have no idea what this is about.
this was brought, we've been talking about easier ways for our employees to be able to read water meters every month on the 11th and 12th.
Okay.
We've been using trucks and tearing up seats, and we've got one golf cart currently that the police department owns.
They do, I've
And
seen it.
so I would like for us to allocate $2,500 to go buy another golf cart so we can have our guys ride around on golf carts instead of hopping in and out of trucks. And,
Well, that take care of it, with 2,500 do it?
oh yeah, I just bought
Okay.
a decent one for less than 2,000, so,
Is that a motion?
so move.
Is there a second, Mr.
They'll
Nash?
just use these doing the.
We already have one, so we only need to purchase one more.
That's the summertime thing? or
Summer,
you-
whatever weather is,
Okay.
and that would only be for obviously residential areas. It wouldn't be riding up and down Main Street out towards Walmart.
Better
It's still-
define that, no, I ain't saying.
So,
Who seconded Mr. Nash's motion? Anybody second?
That's second.
Mr. Miller has seconded Mr. Nash's motion. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And this is number 7, the Smart Scale project from 10th to Fair Street. Mr. Van Orbeck? It's a, woo.
10th to Fair Street, and you can see the dollar figure is allocation of funds up to $3,437,000 that we're requesting.
We're seeking that. It's a
VDOT to put towards the widening of South Main Street. This is a project we've talked about for gosh knows how many years, curb and gutter, sidewalks, all such things.
5-year plan,
Yeah, yeah.
20 years ago.
Yep.
So we are applying again. This is not a revenue share because I just don't think I could come up with $1,000,007. So, and revenue shares are 50/50. This is an all grant. It's called a Smart Scale application, and this will be a full funded from VDOT.
Our original figure was like, from VDOT was 7 million. How did the price
Don't
go?
know. That was last week while I was not here, and 3 Point and Jennifer's not here tonight for me to
Could we
ask.
see if it's okay, could we see if we can get Nottaway County's planning folks to help us with this? As also, can we get someone from FAST to maybe write a letter and talk about the growth of Blackstone? I think sometimes if we just get more creative with the narrative, but stay factual, I think sometimes we just,
Can we get our fine mayor to
I'll do all I can,
send
absolutely.
letters to?
This is a VDOT will have final say on this, right?
It's all
all right.
VDOT.
Y'all proceed as, I'm gonna talk to Diana Bryan, just see if there's anything we're not, I get, y'all talk to VDOT, don't you? Is there anything we're not doing?
They're the ones that prepared the application.
Why did we not get it last time? We,
Oh, Northern Virginia gets it. All the money always gets
Smart
all.
scale projects have changed the way money, it used to be you called down to South Hill and talked to Lou Parker and get your money, right?
Right.
It don't work like that no more. Now they compare you based on traffic warrants, which is the number of accidents, speeding, all those kinds of
Gotcha.
things. And now they compare you to Perham Road or somewhere in Chesterfield, so rural areas just don't fare as well. The smart scale, they just don't have a traffic count.
all right, well, I'll tell you what, I'll authorize, I'll entertain a motion from council to proceed with applying for the smart scale grant as it always does.
And adopt this resolution.
Yes. So, Ms. Hasbrook has made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Colonel Tom Wilkinson seconded. All in favor?
And there's no match.
There's no match. It's 3.3 million. Cross your fingers.
This is huge because we have an individual that displayed the mayor's sign all the time, rides right in the middle of the road, and I mean, we need sidewalks out there.
We want to protect him. All of,
Just sign.
all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Mr. Van Orbeck has asked for several committee referrals, and I can help him. The 2nd Street ditch and the Virginia Street alleyway, I'm going to refer, this is a little bit of a curve on you. I'm referring both those to buildings and properties
Where's 2nd Street ditch?
because it involves town property.
It's right across from the concrete water tank. There's a lady that lives across the street named Mary LeGrand, who when it rains, it floods and pours on her and washes a lot of silt off the town property. She is asking, I'll tell you, I told her the policy, you pay for the construction and we'll coordinate it. Since it is on town, it's in the town right away. It's not private property, on town right away. But she is, she's reluctant to pay for the installation of the pipe. So I told her I would bring it to council and see what we could do. She's pretty adamant and it's a little messy.
You're referring both.
I'm referring to 2nd Street ditch and the infamous Virginia Street alleyway, and that both will be buildings and properties, and that's Ms. Hasbrook, Nash, Mr. Nash, and Ms. Thompson on both of those. And as far as the budget plan for utilities and the outsourcing of tax and utilities, I want to refer both those to the finance, which is Mr. Nash, Ms. Jones, and Colonel Wilkinson.
And what's outsourcing taxes and utilities?
Mr. Van Orbeck?
Give us a four.
The intention is, and our treasurer is very excited about the prospect of having a private company actually print and issue our utility bills and tax bills. A lot less expensive than I expected. We're in the hundreds of dollars to do this kind of thing. and that would stuff the envelopes and do all
Free
that.
up, how much
$100
manpower
per
short,
month?
free up, tremendous.
Yeah, I would sit in my office and pull apart 4,500 bills.
Certainly worth looking into.
The cost that we had talked about, $400, was that an annual?
That's for the utilities. It's
That'd be
like
monthly.
42 for the monthly, but right now we have the postcards, you know, bring us here all night, you know, pulling apart bills and, it would cut down on the postage time, free up a lot more. time
Morale,
for other
everything.
things. All she would do was send a file to this company.
Sometimes outsourcing is the way to
I
go.
don't want to use them, you have a crew, let them bring it for you.
We'll have those committees look at it. Just to remind the audience, again, committees have no authority. A committee just recommends, but committees do a lot of heavy
Why are you
lifting.
looking at me? Just kidding, just kidding, just kidding.
So that's clear. Folks, I'm gonna, under the mayor's minute, just two things, first of all.
Peanut got something.
Who's that? I'm sorry. Luke, Mr. Johnson, yes, I'm sorry.
I have a question. You did not touch on the budget plan.
Yes.
Have y'all taken consideration, because you want to, Blackstone is the cheapest in a sense, but the highest on the back end. You want to allow them 800 kilowatts. After 800 kilowatts, be the highest.
One of the things I could ask the committee to look at is one of the things that we talked about in February was a universal electric rate for both residential and commercial. Not to punish, the more you use, the higher you pay. That's what happens in the residential end. The more you and I burn in our house, if we cross a certain threshold, we pay a higher unit cost. Is that right, Mr. Van Norbeck, or is it backwards?
No, I think the commercial pays and offsets the cost of the residential in Blackstone. Some places it's different, but commercial enterprise pays a higher rate, not only with the demand charge, but also the actual kilowatt hour purchase price.
Right.
And so
So residential, whatever I burn on residential, my rate does not change. Whether I have I don't turn the AC on this month, or I crank it up to 65.
well, your rate changes per kilowatt hour. There's a certain threshold.
Right.
After you exceed a certain thousand
Right.
kilowatt hours, and then it's a different.
That's what Mr. Johnson, you're talking about, is the fact when the rate,
Like Southside, their average for customers like 1,100. But the opposite at 800, you get to 800 in no time.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It
And
could-
once we go on this budget plan, people gonna be, man, I can just burn up more electricity, and they will end up in a bigger debt ratio than they is.
well, one of the things I'm gonna give Nathaniel Miller, my wife loved what you said at the candidates forum. Nathaniel Miller said, not only is a budget plan needed, but if you can do it, we're gonna have to really educate the people, because someone who usually gets in a monthly jam is gonna be in a gigantic year-end jam.
Well, I
That's-
think if you look at
Because
the
I've been paying that
kilowatt,
I pay $350 every month. I've been doing that for a whole year on my light bill. Some years, some months it might be $100. I still pay that $350 for the whole year. I mean, every month when I get my light bill.
And they do that,
that's here in Blackstone.
and you do that on your own volition with the town
I
hall.
never do it, just to test it out.
Okay, so we already kind of have a budget plan for, in a way.
I think to be honest, probably the 800 kilowatts came from Lord knows how many years ago when we consumed a lot less energy.
It is.
We consumed a lot less energy, so it could be that we just need to adjust
Yeah, we
the
need to
actual.
raise that up.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we ask the finance committee that's gonna look at the budget plan to look at that threshold of 1,100? Or maybe even do one better than Southside and go to 1,200.
Now you talk.
All right, well, I'm gonna refer that to the finance committee, the new finance committee as well. Under mayor's minute, I just have two things I wanna say. It's been a pleasure to serve with y'all tonight. This has been a good meeting. One of the things I wanna stress to y'all, and some of you have heard me say this when you're in the audience, the members of council or the legislators, y'all do the heavy lifting. I'm basically running the meeting. I may pop in at a committee meeting, but my style might be different than mayors across the country, where I have people call me and say, Mayor, get the votes lined up. That's not my style. I'm never gonna call any of y'all and say, I need you on this. I want that. It's not my style. If you ever engage me, I will always respond. I'll give you information. But, of course, I have my own wishes about things, but y'all make decisions. Decisions final. We move on. But my door is always open. But I just don't want you to think that, I don't ever want to put pressure on anybody to do anything. I want you all to vote your own conscience. And that's just my feelings. I'm excited about everybody. The only other thing that's sort of on a downer note, I do think, Bobby Thomas wrote a letter to this council that I know we don't want to discuss in open session, but people are asking me, is the town going to respond? I've told people that we are trying to talk to VDOT. Okay.
We had, we set up an appointment with Bobby, and I just wanted to clarify exactly what it was
Right.
that he was looking for, and we met.
It's about the Carriage
I
Museum.
was still here in town. I met with VDOT, and asked them, what are our obligations? What are we obligated? She said, you can change the terms of the grant at any time. So I think it's a matter of the council committee sitting down, or if you want to do it with full council in closed session, just sit down and say, these are the things we feel obligated. There are some capital improvements that are not in the grant agreement.
We sort of promised, or, paving the parking lot sort of thing, but could we get, I think it's important that Mr. Thomas be known that we've taken it seriously, and also, and the fact you've talked to him underscores that. It would be nice if VDOT, what you just said, VDOT said, I'd love to have that in writing. To hang my hat on.
If they can change, that the council preserves.
I would love to have a letter from VDOT saying, Dear Blackstone, the way the grant works, you are allowed as locality to as conditions change, to make changes yourself. I think that would be something
We
important.
get Diane Bryant to come make a presentation.
Because the letter, while, and I do sympathize with Bobby and his family, everybody here knows his family's been generous. The letter did seem to suggest that if things are not resolved to their satisfaction, there might be a follow-up matter. There was clearly some suggestion of possible litigation.
Correct, that's why we discussed it in closed
Very
session.
good, all right, very good. All right, that's all I've got, members of council.
One other item that I failed to mention while we were talking about the town square for the brew house.
Yes.
Say if, I'm just gonna throw Peanut out there just because
Yeah.
he's here. Say if he wanted to park out there right behind the square that night and sell stuff, could he? I mean, to me,
Historic business district, remember?
He's in his
but they're over there selling food.
I'm just telling you, your ordinance says historic business district. Does it make sense? Sure.
All right, could
Makes
the Herb Cottage go over there and set up a booth? In all fairness,
A booth or the trailer?
whatever. I mean,
I would say yeah, if they were gonna set it up in
just in
conjunction
case someone
with-
asks. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
But I think the brew house will have, it's the brew house event that night. They're reserving the square. I think they have the right on the square to say who,
If they were paying for it.
yeah, if they were paying, that's
but it is owned by the people, isn't it? It's owned by the people.
I'm paying for it.
Well, that's why we've got the Buildings and Properties Committee. Ms. Hasbrook's committee is gonna try to come up with some guidelines for the square.
Well, what's the difference between a booth and my food cart? I mean, you selling food like I'm selling food.
Well, but there's a,
I mean,
yeah, it's,
it's not fair then. I mean, you letting a booth come out there and sell something. I mean,
well, like I say, on Thursday morning, Mr. Thompson from Dundas is out there in the square, not paying the town anything. But it-
he's exempt because he's a farmer.
Right.
Because a farmer, yeah, farmers don't have to pay. That's the only reason he. But I mean, I just think, and I forgot to mention it while he was here, about how, I mean, and I don't know if they'd even be opposed to if, say, Farmers Cafe wants to come up and put up a tent in the whole, I don't know, or in the square, excuse me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that would happen, but I think we need to always be prepared.
Correct.
It's always the things you don't think will happen in local government are the first things that will
If
happen.
there was a fee, then I think you could say it's theirs for the night. But since there's not, is it a open door?
Well, one of the things the committee may want to look at, maybe a fee will maybe by charging someone a fee to rent, they become the quote-unquote, it's their show that night.
Yeah, I mean, and we're not talking.
Maybe that they pay the deposit, they pay the deposit and they get the deposit back
That's right.
if everything is clean.
I mean, he did say they were gonna have
Too late.
sponsors, so.
Is it too late to amend my motion on that? Because I failed to include meals tax. In that.
I think
That goes without
that's the ordinance
saying,
on the
yeah.
books.
Okay.
Let's just make sure town staff reminds them of that.
Should be.
Brittany's got that. You have a police report in your packet. Anything, there's no closed session night. Anything
No,
else
but
to come before the
I
council?
do have one item. There's a gentleman named Ryan Short, who I've been discussing
Ryan,
for
yes.
some time about I can't say it's an adult-oriented business, but it's a internet, no, it's a gaming.
It's called gaming, it's games of skill, not games of chance. It's
not gambling.
You can go and you can gamble 1 penny or $10 or whatever. He has one in South Hill and Emporia.
Correct.
But this council the planning commission will get a request for him to locate in the Food Lion Shopping Center.
Correct.
Which is one of the town has two what's called specialty business districts, which we did to keep certain businesses away from downtown. There was a time about 10, 11 years ago where there was an adult video store right in the heart of downtown.
My personal opinion, it would need to be done as a text modification and an application for that, make it a conditional use rather than a use by right. I guess the question came up when I was on vacation that they were pressed and concerned about timing. It's
Okay.
gonna, they're okay now.
The timetable that Jennifer Daniel had outlined to him is fine.
August council meeting.
Yes.
Right, okay. So we don't need a special call meeting of any kind
I
or
don't
anything to
foresee
do?
it. I mean, he's got the, but the advertisement, he submitted to you and all that, okay, all right.
Do you, just, have you already done that?
What?
Have you already done that?
No, it'll go in the paper tomorrow.
Yes,
We'll get a
yes,
copy of that. If you can give me a planning commission date, and we just need to
Yeah,
get it.
it's a little bit of a gambling. It's like I said, from talking to people in those localities, it's something senior citizens go and enjoy. It becomes a place where they don't have any trouble, I've been told, but again, he'll have to make his case to the planning commission and the council.
Was it gonna be a vape store or something too?
It's a vape store, which is a legal activity, it's a
Correct,
retail.
yeah.
So he doesn't need anything.
We
for
have one in
that.
Blackstone now.
And the zoning permits retail, but it doesn't permit this, simply because it's not included anywhere. It's a new venture. We had one in Amelia that didn't go so good. I think it was more of a game of chance rather than a game of skill.
And the state comes in and audits them big time, but these are games of skill. But
Is
it's,
that kind of like in North Carolina, they outlawed bingo when I was a child and turned it into Quizzo? Is that what you're saying?
Ryan knows more than I do about it, but
I
yeah.
mean, what's the difference in a game of chance and a game of skill? You playing a slot machine? Is it how you hold your mouth or something? I'm confused.
You're
Is that-
watching a video, like you have to count things that go by the screen. You have to, or you have to zap something that goes by there. It's like a, I won't be, right.
It's not
right.
pull a lever and just let it flow.
No. That's what Ryan says, but again, we'll have to go
They were
through.
gonna be compressed for time, and so.
I did too, but he's better now. He's better. Anything else to come before the council? Nothing like a 3-hour meeting to start your career here?
Short-ended.
Well, I don't know yet. To be continued. Folks, thanks for coming and staying, and good to have everybody here. I'll adjourn this meeting at 9:56 p.m.
Thank you for putting me on back on the table. That was such a prestigious committee to be on.
Well, I wanted to get the mail